Hey friend, Brandon here. Well, Google continues to go against the grain in what may be their most bold and confident launches ever with the Google Pixel 4. Insanely enough, it may also be a direct attack on Samsung that may just throw the Note 10 off its track. You'll need to hear me out on that before you get upset. So let me explain what happened, some observations and thoughts on what Google unveiled. We'll talk about the Google Pixel 4 leak that some people don't seem to be talking about for some reason, and how so many of you are drastically underestimating what Google just unveiled. And of course, how this affects Samsung's Note 10 release, because this is Tech Today. Make sure you share, subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified of when I post a new video. And if you like well-researched and thoughtful videos about the Google Pixel 4, make sure to check out the playlist of videos related to what we'll see in October from Google in the card up here or the link in the description. So let's talk about what happened. So Google just continues to surprise us and revealed more about the Google Pixel 4 before its official announcement, which is likely to happen in October of this year. This bold new way of handling leaks and product reveals started back in June of this year when they revealed the back design of the Pixel 4 after renders and CAD designs that are utilized for making cases for the phone leaked out. And apparently that wasn't a one-off move from Google. At the end of July, they released another teaser reveal and a blog post on the Google Pixel 4 and what it can do, at least some of it. Why don't we take a quick look at that teaser?
Came through dripping Aquafina.
In the teaser and blog post, Brendan Barbello, the product manager for the Google Pixel 4 and a former product manager for ATAP when it was still around in its previous form, shared a bit about what the Pixel 4 can do. For context, he is the dude that worked on Project Soli, which is one of the things highlighted in the blog post where they talked about and showed off motion sense, which allows you to wave your hand around and change songs and whatnot. On top of that, they unveiled what would be a robust face unlock solution that we haven't seen officially supported and as advanced of an option on the Android side. Now, of course, I have some observations, thoughts, and responses to some of the comments I've heard in regards to the announcement. As I go through this, I'd love to know your thoughts on all of this, so let me know about them below in the comments and whether any of this is enough to get you to upgrade your phone or even consider the Google Pixel 4. First, let's talk about the front-facing camera. A lot of people are bummed out that there's not a second camera on the front. I love the ultra-wide selfie camera on the Google Pixel 3 and 3 XL. At first glance, it would seem like there isn't an ultra-wide camera on the Pixel 4, but I'm not entirely sure about that. If you remember the presentation from Google I/O where they showed off some of the great accessibility features coming to Android Q, you may remember that they stated that it would only be available in Google's next Pixel device, which is logically the Pixel 4. And you may remember this part of the presentation. In it, you can see what definitely looks like a Pixel 4 now that we know the rear camera layouts and the front-facing sensor layouts. And did you see this part where she's taking a selfie? If you look closely, there's still a slider to go ultra-wide. Now, this is just a guess, but I would think Google wouldn't give up a feature that so many loved and was displayed in all their marketing. The Google I/O presentation helps add weight to that stance. I believe that the camera on the front is in itself an ultra-wide camera that they either crop into, which is similar to the camera that I use right now, it crops in, or uses a super res zoom type software to not only punch into a normal focal length, but also address the warping that is typical of an ultra-wide camera lens. You know, you kind of see that on a GoPro along the edges. We'll see if I'm right. Now let's talk about Project Soli, and this is the part that I think is the most misunderstood. There are a ton of people out there that are severely underestimating the power of Project Soli. Rather than a quick hot take based on an initial impression, I actually do my research. Understandably, many people have said that motion sense is a silly gimmick that Samsung and LG tried in their own phones either this past year or a few generations ago, and they were a flop. But when you look at the tech that Google is using, you can see that LG and Samsung are not using the same technology. While I understand the view that this is a gimmick and would even agree that hand waving to change my song in itself isn't all that interesting, maybe more helpful when you're cooking or your hands are wet. But the real excitement comes from the fact that it is Project Soli, which finally received FCC approval at the beginning of 2019. Now, if you're not familiar with Project Soli, the super short explanation is that it's radar-based technology that Google's ATAP team has been working on for a few years that can recognize extremely fine gestures, detailed gestures like that of twisting your fingers or slightly acting like you're twisting a dial or scrolling through a list. This allows you to interact with your devices in a way that is somewhat intangible. And here is the biggest thing that I think will blow your mind and why I think people are massively underestimating Project Soli. Project Soli not only has a frame rate scan of 10,000 per second that can recognize the smallest of movements, gestures, and orientations, but is capable of detecting the composition of what is in front of it. It can tell what is in front of it. In its development, it was able to recognize various objects, which became even more powerful when combined with machine learning. And I'm pretty sure Google has some experience with that. Maybe just a little bit. With Project Soli, it could tell if it was a fruit, a part of your body, or a specific type of phone, amongst many other things. Soli becomes even more powerful when you combine it with a cell phone, like a Pixel 4. In the early development, it allowed you to interact with your phone with different parts of your body to perform different types of actions on the phone itself. It was also able to determine the orientation of an object and was so precise, it could even tell the exact number of cards in a deck. Keep in mind that this was back in 2016. Can you even imagine all the possibilities of Project Soli now after Google has invested in it a lot over the past 3 years? Knowing all this is a dramatic difference compared to waving your hands around to skip a song, right? Can you imagine how amazing this could be for those with accessibility needs? I'm sure that will be a part of its use, especially with a beautiful emphasis towards accessible features on Android Q. Now, if you want to check out the videos of the early demos of Project Soli, I'll have them linked down below in the description. When I see these gestures, I see something that is merely the beginning and the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to come that I'm sure will be interesting, and Google said that Project Soli will continue to evolve over time. So imagine it will dramatically improve and advance once the phones are in more hands. Plus, if we were to look at Google's track record, many people thought the squeeze feature was a stupid gimmick when it was first rumored and when it was announced. Now it's one of the many different Pixel features that I love and miss when I use another phone, like the Galaxy S10. I know there are many others out there that feel the same way, so let us know who you are in the comments. I honestly think the squeeze feature is a good implementation that is intuitive. Because of Project Soli, it allows for one of the biggest features that I've been personally wanting in a mass market Android phone for so long: Face Unlock. This is more robust than anything found on any other Android before, and even more robust than the iPhone. This robustness and official support allows it to work for secure payments and app authentications, which is a seamless integration and benefit that Face Unlock provides. Those who have used iPhones for a bit will understand how nice Face ID is when entering into an app that needs to authenticate you before you enter into it. Kind of like a Webull stock investing account or a Wealthfront high yield savings account, which I personally use, and you can get things for free by signing up. Link in the description. Not sponsored, but you should totally sign up. What makes it more robust? First, it has an additional IR camera that provides more data and will likely help with reading your face at any orientation, like when your phone is laying on a desk. Second, when you combine it with Project Soli, which we now know is way more powerful and capable than Google is letting on, it will recognize your face approaching your phone and turn on Face Unlock to unlock your phone automatically without the need to swipe up. I would imagine that this is a setting that you'll be able to turn off for those of us that want to check notifications on our home screen. At least it better be a setting. What is interesting is how the Face Unlock was so easy to miss in the teaser video because it's the first thing you see and just passes by seamlessly. And that's how a Face Unlock should work, right? The fact that so many people missed that until they read the blog should be a testament at how good this is going to be if it actually performs as advertised, which admittedly has been one of Google's struggles. Hopefully the power Soli allows for a more comprehensive reading of your face that greatly surpasses the quality of Apple's Face ID in terms of security, but also speed. I don't want it to be so insecure that I could just unlock it with a picture of me like on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Yeah, that really happened, and it's not good. Now, one thing that I wanted to point out in the teaser is something that is strangely not being talked about by many people. I don't know why. If you look at the image of the sensors provided in the blog post and look right below it, has writing on a virtual notepad of sorts. Now, I'm pretty sure there's no stylus or anything coming to the Pixel 4, so how did this writing show up, and why is it in a blog about Project Soli? Well, remember how Soli can recognize fine gestures? It can also recognize different materials or even pressures, so it's possible that you may be able to write out notes in midair, perhaps with more virtual pressure on the virtual stylus depending on how hard you squeeze your fingers. This is totally speculation, but if you look at it, there are 3 different pen pressures and writing there right in front front of us. So I thought it was just funny how it was in plain sight and how much it stood out to me. Now, it's important to be mindful of some things upon the release of new technology, especially something like Face Unlock, which keeps your likeness on the device and encrypted. Much like Apple's Face ID, it typically runs a bit rough for the first week or two. As it continues to scan your face, it begins to recognize you better and will unlock faster. And I imagine this will be similar for Google's Face Unlock feature. However, Google is making an effort to shorten this period and increase its accuracy for all on the base level, especially those for who have different skin tones, by approaching people on the street and letting them scan their faces for $5. This provides greater data sets to help their machine learning algorithms improve, which should also mean that as a whole, Face Unlock should improve over time for everyone, even on a fresh device. I heard about this face scanning thing that was happening on the streets months ago, but I kind of dismissed it. It just seemed possible that the person reporting it could have been making it up, but joke's on me, it was real. So why do I think this is an attack on Samsung? First, Google is changing the game in regards to product releases, but for the sake of time, I'll save that whole discussion for another video on why I think Google is the most revolutionary smartphone company of 2019 already. Well, let me know if you want that video by leaving a comment below and giving this video a thumbs up. Google is the most confident and bold smartphone company right now. There's a surreal amount of self-realization that we haven't seen from them, I think, ever, and I think they know it. By releasing information early on their terms, they control the narrative, and in this case, they get to control the narrative that they're innovating and doing something different. In an industry that feels so boringly stagnant, Google is going to have their moment to be the ones leading the pack this time, at least hopefully. Honestly, I'm sick and tired of analyzing and nitpicking bezels and how it lost a millimeter to increase its screen-to-body ratio. Who freaking cares? I'm sick of hearing people saying a phone is horrendous, look at it because of the uneven bezel. First of all, give me a break, get a hobby and lighten up if a millimeter difference is really something that bothers you that much. These advancements are meaningless. They don't do anything but harm the consumer by increasing the cost for the sake of superficial, lazy changes, all at the expense of practical and useful features. As I tweeted out, which you may have seen if you follow me, if you don't, you should go do that now, but phone designers need to stop being lazy and innovating again. They're just coasting. We need something good again, and smartphone developers need to stop listening to the nerds, that vocal minority that say what a phone should be, and then don't even buy it. And then you, the everyday person, the average consumer, the people who actually buy it, suffer because the practical features had to be removed to support what? More screen. I like bezels, they're useful. So bezel gang, where you at? Let me know in the comments. But here's the point, and hear me out. Samsung is guilty of this. The Samsung Galaxy S10 is the best Samsung device I've ever used. But the edge screen results in false touches, distorted images, and the lack of bezel makes it hard to use it with a case on it, especially with the gestures. And the in-display fingerprint scanner is just an iteration on something that worked really well before, only to be replaced with something that is worse. I made a video about all of this, which you can check out up here. It's very interesting to just understand what's happening with the industry and how it's not about you anymore. Depending on when you're watching this, the Note 10 is coming out next week or is already out. But at the time of filming, the Note 10 will be released in a few days. And I'm willing to be wrong when I say what I'm going to say. And I want to be wrong, but the sad part is that the Note 10 looks like the same thing as the Galaxy S10. And I mean that in many ways. We've heard just about everything about it in the leaks. It's going to be an amazing phone, insanely powerful, well made, and beautiful. But here's the thing. It's a Galaxy S10 with a bigger screen, a stylus, and a way higher price tag, which none of us want. It even removes the headphone jack and other features. Why? Why are we regressing now? So that's what we have to look forward to based upon the leaks we've had so far, but that's kind of boring and disappointing, isn't it? It's just another phone. Surely a great phone at that, but where's the risk for the mass market? And the mass market isn't the audience that would buy the Galaxy Fold, by the way. There isn't risk. Google is the one taking risk. And by them putting out this teaser and blog post a week before the announcement of the Note 10, that's convenient. They just took the wind out of Samsung's sails. We'll probably watch or read the announcement and it'll be the same song and dance as always, and then we'll see what Google is doing, and the contrast will be greater than ever before. And you know what a lot of people do? They'll wait for the Google Pixel 4 before they decide what phone they'll actually get. When that happens, Google wins, either with your purchase of the Google Pixel 4 or with your attention. Well played, Google. So we'll see if Google manages to add features that are practical, that are helpful, intuitive, and loved. They've blown our minds with call screening, Google Duplex to make phone calls for you, and added quality of life things like the squeeze feature. They have done it before, and they could do it again or completely blow it. In this case, I think they may knock it out of the park with something that is really revolutionary again. Google just needs to fix the one thing they haven't been able to lock down yet: follow through on what they promise. So don't disappoint us, Google. If you want more heavily researched videos like this, please watch these other videos on the Google Pixel 4. It also helps the channel out dramatically with that YouTube algorithm if you watch more content. You can even put your phone in your pocket while another video plays. It just helps out the channel. Also, please share it with others on Reddit, Facebook, with your dog. I like dogs. Who doesn't like dogs? And then finally, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments and in the This Is Tech Today community Discord chat server. There's a link in the description. So thank you for watching This Is Tech Today, where we talk about the intersection of technology in our everyday lives, in business, and in all things creative. Until next time.